What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. This is the Week 17 recap episode. It's going to be a great one. We got Dustin back on the show. Dustin, good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, always good to have you on the show. And Tito back. Tito, great to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, hey Alex, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So lots of good football on Sunday and Monday this week with the season coming to an end. One more week to go and all the playoff races heating up. So we got some games to get to and talk about everything that went down. Let's start with Eagles and Washington. The Eagles come in to Washington on a 3-game winning streak. And Washington looking to bounce back after giving up 56 points to the Cowboys. Dustin, the Eagles, we pretty much counted the Eagles out a while ago. And actually, like, going back to our preseason, I didn't believe in this Eagles team at all. How is it that the Eagles are now on, a 4-game winning streak at the right time? And Jalen Hurts is leading this team, into the playoffs. They've clinched, right? They clinch a playoff spot. Dustin, how surprised are you with the Eagles going on this run?
I'm very surprised. I didn't have faith in Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the season, but he's really proved me wrong and became a good player.
Yeah, and I like the way they're built. Like, they kind of almost – they tend to pass a little bit, but I think they're built best to play the way the Ravens do, run first with Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Jordan Howard, and those guys. Tito, what do you think of the Eagles? They're hot right now with the playoffs right around the corner.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts has been playing, better football as of late, and so I think that's going to be big going forward. As you mentioned, I think the running game is really a top running game in the league right now. And so I think in this type of football, playoff football, that's really what you want. And so if Hurts can keep the mistakes to a minimum, I think they could be dangerous.
Yeah, maybe upset someone in the first round or something. That'd be cool to
absolutely.
see. Dustin, what's your thoughts? I know, there's a lot of talk about Tyler Heineke going into this year, after the way he played in the playoffs last year, but unable to get Washington into the playoffs. Do you put that on Heineke, or do you think that's the team around him, losing Chase Young, stuff like that?
Yeah, I think that it's just all the injuries and, them not being prepared to come in and win their ball games. I still
You do like Heineke. Would you look to upgrade, potentially, Matt Ryan or Deshaun Watson, or you feel comfortable running it back with Heineke?
Well, anytime you have a chance to go get guys like that are potential future Hall of Famers, you have to go get them.
Okay, yeah, and Heineke, in my opinion, he can be a really good backup too. He doesn't have to be a starter. What do you think on that, Tito? Would you look to upgrade the quarterback position this offseason if you were the football team?
Yeah, I think if you can upgrade, you definitely should. I don't think Heineke was necessarily the problem for the Washington football team. They had a lot of problems. Injuries being one of them, not having Antonio Gibson for most of the game and J.D. McKissick, they were a big part of those winnings. So I don't think it can be all blamed on him. Of course, if you can upgrade, but I don't think that they didn't make the playoffs because of Heineke.
Okay, and he got hurt a little bit too. Like, you wonder what record they would have if he was healthy all season. And we forget, this was so long ago, but Ryan Fitzpatrick was the original plan for this year. So that's, something to think about too. Let's go Rams-Ravens. So this is a big game. The Rams come in on a 4-game winning streak. The Ravens on a 4-game losing streak. Tito, we didn't have you on for a couple weeks. What did you think? I feel like John Harbaugh single-handedly almost played a big role in this Ravens losing streak. And now they find themselves, they had the best record in the AFC at one point at 8-3, the number 1 seed. Now, they're out of the playoffs. They're eliminated from the playoffs on a 5-game losing streak. Do you put blame on John Harbaugh for the way this went down, or is it more on Lamar Jackson's injury? I mean, I didn't like going for 2-point conversions instead of tying the game. What do you think on that?
Yeah, I thought, man, that's a good question. I really thought that they made they made a good decision on one of those games to go for it on the I think
Probably
versus
the
Green Bay.
Steelers one, right?
Yeah, yeah, versus Green Bay. I didn't think that they should have. Um, but with them, and this happens every year. They're one team that really got hit hard by injuries, obviously right from
Yep.
the beginning of the season. And so I really think they were playing with house money, and they were just saying, you know what, let's go for it. If we don't get it, I think they were a team that felt confident in what they had before the injuries, and I think they were really a team that was saying, okay, you know what, let's just go for it now. If we miss it, we miss the playoffs. We know we're going to come back stronger next year because this is a good team. The Ravens are a good team. They're coming back.
Yeah,
What they did,
100%. That's a good
yeah.
way to look at it. Like, you come back next year, you can retool the roster a little bit around Lamar Jackson. As long as Lamar stays healthy, you're right. This is a team that can contend really in the AFC.
Yeah, and even their losses were close losses. It weren't like they were getting blown out. That defense had a lot of injuries as well. So I think they can definitely come back strong next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Dustin, what do you think? So Tyler Huntley kind of forced into action with Lamar being out with COVID and injury. I thought Tyler Huntley proved himself quite a bit this year, and the limited time that he got to start some games and play. I could see someone giving Tyler Huntley some money and putting him in a quarterback competition. Do you think that could happen?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he showed up and played well against the Packers, and then they almost beat the Rams. I think he deserves a shot.
Yeah, I agree 100% on that. Um, Tito, what's your thoughts on Matthew Stafford and the Rams? The Rams brought Stafford in as, they thought an automatic upgrade, a clear upgrade over Jared Goff, and that instantly made this team Super Bowl expectations. And then they go and bring in guys like Von Miller and and Odell Beckham Jr. Stafford 3 turnovers in this game could have cost them the win. It was close. Stafford ended up being clutch with the touchdown pass to Odell Beckham Jr. Do you think Stafford's turnovers could come back to hurt this team in the playoffs, though?
Yeah, I think it could. I think really the best way to think about Matt Stafford right now is that he's gonna score a lot of points, but he's also gonna keep the other team in the game.
Yeah.
And I think in the postseason that's at some point going to come back and bite you. But here's the thing: you just mentioned he was clutch in that fourth quarter, and he's been clutch in some fourth quarters, even when he's trying to give the game away.
Yeah.
And so I also think that is going to lead to some confidence, saying, okay, I got ourselves down, I can get us out of this. But I do think that in the playoffs against better teams, better competitions, with more time to prepare, it'll come back and bite him.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's got to cut down on those turnovers. Yeah, you ideally, a badly timed interception or fumble in the playoffs can be the momentum swing that loses you the game. So you have to really protect the ball in the postseason. Dustin, do you agree with that? What are your thoughts on this Rams team going into January?
Yeah, I mean, after watching them play on on Sunday and playing the Ravens like that, who are depleted, I don't trust them. I think they could be a first round out.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. That's going to be the big question, because Stafford and this Rams team has to get at least one win. You can't be on. I mean, this is clearly the best team Stafford's been on. This is the first time he's won 12 games in a season. So this is the year that they need to go on a deep playoff run, at least get one win in the playoffs. Otherwise, the narrative on Stafford is not going to be good when talking about January. Tito, what do you think of Cooper Kupp? Somewhat quietly, breaking Isaac Bruce's record for receiving yards in a season in Rams franchise history, and trying to go after Calvin Johnson. I don't think he's going to get it, but a hell of a year for Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp's had a great year. I also think this can be attributed to our previous conversation about Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford has done a good job of getting him the ball and giving him those opportunities.
Hmm.
So no, Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's a great receiver. I do think he has a bit of a point in what he said. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, that he thinks records should be different between 17 games and 16 games, which I
Yes.
happen to agree with. If you beat Jerry Rice in any category per se, uh, you should have a little asterisk that said you had 17 games, he had 16 games to do it. Because if Jerry Rice games, I bet you he's gonna have a lot more records. So I do think it's a different category, but yeah, Cooper Kupp's a hell of a player.
Absolutely. And to that point, so Tito, I know you put Jerry Rice really high up there, but I saw some analytic guys on Twitter saying that according to their spreadsheets, Jerry Rice would just be a practice squad player in today's NFL.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I trust those spreadsheets very much. I'll take the eye test.
That's NFL Twitter for you. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, so all the talks about Cooper Kupp, but Odell Beckham Jr. and Stafford seem to be developing some chemistry here, especially late in the fourth quarter in this game on Sunday. Stafford went to OBJ on, I believe it was a fourth down, a must-have fourth down that they converted, and then on the game-winning touchdown to Odell Beckham Jr. What does the chemistry between Stafford and OBJ could mean for this Rams team in the playoffs, Dustin?
It could be huge. I mean, OBJ is explosive, and you get them two going, it could be huge.
Yeah, and getting running back Cam Akers back as well. So then suddenly you got a two-headed running back tandem of Sony Michel and Cam Akers. Who knows? This Rams team could be dangerous, especially if they get that first win out of the way and get some momentum. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see for sure. Now, Tito, real quick, the Steelers go to the Ravens in Week 18. The Ravens are on a 5-game losing streak, like we talked about. The Steelers need this win and a Colts loss to sneak into the playoffs. Do you see the Steelers finding a way into the playoffs, or what do you think happens in our last week?
No, I don't think the Steelers get into the playoffs. I really don't think they're going to win that game. I'm sure it'll be an emotional game with Ben's last game, perhaps.
Yeah.
But no, I think the Ravens, even at their depleted state, are a little better than they are. The Steelers, beating the Browns. The Browns are not a good team right now.
Yep.
So I don't think that was anything extraordinary. So I think they'll get taken by the Ravens. And I
Okay.
also don't see the Colts losing. That's going to be a tough sell.
Yeah. And then Dustin, the Niners at the Rams. The Niners are in a position where they need to win, because if they lose in LA, the Saints could sneak into the playoffs. How do you see that going, Dustin? Do you think the Niners get into the playoffs or the Saints?
Ooh, that's tough. Well, is Stafford planning on playing on Sunday?
That'll be interesting. I think he probably is, because I think the 1 seed is locked up, but there's a battle between the 2, 3, and 4 seed. So I mean, if I'm the Rams, I'm playing them.
You know what? I think 49ers, man, they have more to lose, and I think they come and play inspired football.
I do too. I actually picked the Niners to win this in LA. But there's some question about who's going to start, whether it's Jimmy Garoppolo or Trey Lance. You think Trey Lance, as a rookie, can go into SoFi and get a massive win for the Niners if he has to start, Dustin?
Who?
Or do they need Jimmy G?
As long as he is conservative and doesn't turn the ball over, and they can run the ball, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, I tend to think so too. Tito, what do you think on that? Can the Niners go into LA and get a win and put them into the playoffs?
I'm not sure. I do think right now they're playing very good football. I actually would prefer Jimmy G to Trey Lance myself, especially against the Rams defense and how good they've been playing as of late as well. I still think the Rams are going to come out with the win in this game. But I do give the 49ers a chance. They've been a good football team as of late, and they've had some good surprises and some good players. So I don't doubt that they can win.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Niners, but I'm not like 100% about it. The Rams are definitely a good team right now, so that'll be a good game to watch. Um, let's go Bucks at Jets. So a lot of drama in this game, and it's not just the obvious drama with the Antonio Brown. So the 11-4 Bucks at the 4-11 Jets. You expect the Bucks to be able to just blow through this game, but the Jets actually led 24-10 late in the third quarter. But the Bucks able to get back into this, and Tom Brady with one of his best game-winning drives I've seen. I don't know if if you guys seen this or not, but Tom Brady with a 33-yard game-winning touchdown pass to Cyril Grayson. Dustin, did you see the end of this game? And this game was harder than it should have been, but this is just Tom Brady stamping the GOAT on him with this great game-winning drive.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I did not get to see the ending, but I did read about it, and yeah, I mean, what more can he do?
Yeah,
And
and go ahead.
I do have to say though, man, to have a game-winning drive against the Jets, I mean, I can't be too high on Tampa Bay.
Well, and think about this. I mean, so you can say the Bucks looked at the Jets and are like easy win, so they didn't really show up. Part of the reason they won is because Jets head coach Robert Saleh decides to go for it on 4th and 2 from the Bucks 7 instead of kicking the field goal to go up 7 points. I don't understand this at all. You're up 4. Tom Brady's on the other side. Why not kick it? And then you're looking at overtime. What did you think on that, Tito? You would I would think want to kick the field goal and go up 7, right? Especially with Brady on the other side.
Yeah, when I first saw this play, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, they must only be up by 3 points. I'm like, no, they're up by 4 points. So they kick the field goal, they'd be up by 7. So why wouldn't you
Yeah.
kick the field goal? That math didn't make sense to me. Especially like you said, you have Tom Brady on the other side. You're giving him about 2 minutes some back. It just didn't make sense. Now I will say I also don't blame the Jets. They are 4-12, 4-11 at that point. What
Yep.
do you have to lose? You probably don't want to play overtime. So you're thinking, okay, you know what? Let's just get out of here.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't blame them. Obviously if they get the conversion, we're not talking about this and they win the game and it's a big shocker, but they didn't. And so now you're questioning it. Again, they didn't have anything to lose, so I'm not necessarily mad at them for it. Tom Brady's Tom Brady, and you give him that much time, he's gonna do what he's gonna do.
Absolutely. A little bit of trivia for you guys. Tom Brady has now thrown 80 touchdowns as a Buccaneer. That sounds amazing to say, like shocking to say that he's only been there for 2 seasons and he's already thrown 80 touchdowns as a Buck. He is already tied for the second most passing touchdowns in franchise history. Who did he tie? Who's second in who else also has 80 touchdowns as a Buck? Dustin, who would you say?
Brad Johnson.
Okay, good guess. What do you say, Tito?
That's a good question. Brandon Jackson's not a bad guess. Jameis Winston.
All right, I like it. I think Jameis Winston's first. Second place, who Tom Brady just tied, Josh Freeman.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Dustin, what do you think of the Jets? They fall to 4-12, not a successful season. You got a rookie head coach, Robert Saleh, rookie quarterback, Zach Wilson. This is looking like a longer rebuild. Like they're not going to be that much better just next year. Do you see signs of improvement from Zach Wilson and what the Jets are doing, or do you think they're still a ways away?
Actually, the last couple games that I've watched, that Zach Wilson has played better.
Yeah.
Since he came back from that injury, he's played better. And I think Robert Saleh is a good coach, and I got a lot of faith that he might get it going over there.
Okay, I like it. I like the optimism. Jets fans need to hear it after years of not getting it done since like Rex Ryan era. Do you agree with that, Tito? You like what the Jets are building, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I think Zach Wilson has shown a lot of good flashes this year. I think for them also to continue, getting the same coach back now, getting rid of Salah, maybe even bringing back Michael LaFleur so that Zach Wilson can be in the same system again instead of learning a brand new system again second year. So yeah, I think they can improve on what they did this year.
Nice. Good to hear for Jets fans. Now, let's go to the big story coming out of this. Antonio Brown gets into, an argument or something and pretty much rips off his jersey and his pads, throws into the fans, into the crowd, and walks off the field and does some jumping jacks on the way to the locker room. Everyone immediately freaked out about this, and it was like, here's Antonio Brown being a major distraction again, and he was pretty much told right then and there that he's off the team. Something we've never really kind of seen anything like this before. Then on Monday morning, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport says that Antonio Brown missed practice on Thursday and Friday and had doubts about being able to play on Sunday due to an ankle injury. But head coach Bruce Arians said that the decision was not injury related. Ian Rappaport said that the Bucs told him to go back into the game. AB refused, said that his ankle was bothering him, and then the team told him to leave the sideline, and he's no longer on the team. To that point, the Bucs have not yet released Antonio Brown, so we're all waiting to see what comes from that. A lot of drama here. Tito, what did you think happened? What was your initial instinct after reading and seeing the video and all that about what happened with Antonio Brown?
Yeah, so when I saw the video, immediately what I thought was that he quit on the team, right? This was before anything came out about it. I just didn't think that it was a very professional thing to do at the time.
Yep.
You don't just leave the field like that. And, he's doing jumping jacks and he's sort of like parading and throwing his things into the stands. I just didn't think that was the right thing to do. If you're injured, take a seat. Now, as you said, they told him to leave. Okay, well, now that's different. And he's saying that he's injured. That's also a different conversation. So at this point, with everything that we know, I think there was just a lot of emotions in that field. I think the coach maybe did tell him to, I don't want to curse. Probably
You
said
can.
some nice, probably told him to get the fuck off the field to, get
Yeah.
out of here. And so, yeah. I mean, if you're Antonio Brown, you're upset. I still don't like the way he carried himself. You don't see another player doing that. If he was hurt, he should have just sat down, put his helmet down. Again, I'm not. He had his emotions. He reacted the way he did. Yeah, I don't really have a problem with it. I thought he could have done it differently, but I wouldn't blame him either.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. Like, I think that it was Bruce Arians was heated in the moment. That's why he told him you're off the team. It was pretty much like, oh, you're not gonna play, then fuck you. So Bruce Arians has always kind of been a hothead. Antonio Brown's always been a hothead as well, so he was mad. So then he kind of took it like, fuck this team. So he's all dramatic, throwing off his jersey, taking off his pads, throwing it into the stands. He's proven a point there too. So there's a lot of point proving going on here, and it was a very bizarre optics. When the Ian Rappaport thing comes out, that really puts into perspective that maybe this was about injury. So it's gonna, I can't really say anything definitive yet. I think there's got to be investigation from like the NFLPA, and we got to get our stories straight before anything can come out of this. Dustin, a lot of people said that, this is probably the end of Antonio Brown's career, but NFL insider Josina Anderson tweets, if Antonio Brown wants to play for another team, he absolutely can. Like as in like next week if he gets cut. What do you think on all this, Dustin?
Well, see, my opinion is at first, I thought the same thing Tito did. I was like, this is Antonio Brown doing what Antonio Brown used to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like trying to cause a show and all that. But then the report came out and I'm like, well, this could be bad for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Secondly, I thought Bruce Arians should have, did the situation better. He should have said, go back to the locker room, do your regular checkup on what they do back there if you're injured, and then, let it be up to the medical staff.
Yeah, and we'll handle it during the week instead of publicly for everyone to see.
Yeah, and I mean, my thing is though, if your ankle's injured, why are you doing jumping jacks?
Well, and so there's a few people that have said that. I think it's like this. There's a difference between full game speed and getting tackled on that ankle and jogging off. And I think, sometimes when you cut and you're at full game speed and you're trying to juke a defender, that's when it can hurt. So, there can be some differentiating between that. Tito, what do you think on the injury aspect? So this is week 17, late in the year, pretty much meaningless football. If Antonio Brown is hurt, if he doesn't practice on Thursday and Friday, I mean, if I'm the Bucks and the playoffs are right around the corner and our goal is a championship, why is Antonio Brown playing week 17 anyways? You know what I mean? And then if he then says he doesn't want to play because his ankle's hurt, yeah, go get it checked out. Go get an MRI. We can handle this second half, this fourth quarter without Antonio Brown. There's got to be something more to it. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with everything that Dustin said. If this turns out that the Bucks wanted to play him while he was injured, then that's something, that they're going to have to pay for, especially in this time of age, in this day and age, in this year in the NFL, that's not something that they allow anymore, right? Back then in the day, you give them some drugs, I'm sure, you put him back in the game because, you take the pain away. But if they do something like that, then they're going to have to pay for that. However, to Dustin's point as well, if he was really injured, why not go to the medical test? Why not get it checked by the coaches and then he sits out? They do that all the time. They do that with Darren Waller with the Raiders. And so like you said, there's just a lot of questions that need to be asked. If he was injured, why go about it the way that it did? They more than likely, like you said, would have probably sat you down. They don't need to win this game. So I think there's just a lot of questions that still need to be answered before, like you said, we can really make any type of decision on it.
Absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens here because he hasn't been released yet. He's technically still on the team, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this all plans out. I mean, who knows? Maybe we could see Antonio Brown back wearing a Bucs uniform at some point in the playoffs. I don't know. This could go a lot of different directions. What do you think, Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously he's in New York right now because I think he just posted something on his Instagram.
Yeah, he was at the Nets game last night. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if I was the Bucks, keep him. Why not? Let him sit out. This final week, find out what's wrong with the ankle.
Yep. Get him 100%.
Yeah.
Get him to calm down.
You're gonna need him. I mean, because Lenny is gonna be coming off of an injury, so you don't know how he's gonna be. Gronk is hit and miss this year. Godwin's out, so you're gonna need that extra weapon.
Absolutely. So it's very interesting. We'll see how the Bucks handle it.
I got a question.
I mean, the thing is, the Bucks knew who Antonio Brown was when they signed him. They knew all along, and so if you're Bruce Arians and you get mad and get heated on the sideline and tell Antonio Brown he's gone, what do you think's going to happen? It's almost like they're kind of like antagonizing him to get a blow up. So maybe they wanted him off the team. I don't know. There's a lot of layers to pull back from this. And Ian Rappaport said some of this could have started at halftime as well. So who knows? I look forward to hearing more on this so we can get a clearer picture of exactly what happened and get a good view of, Antonio Brown's future, whether it's in the NFL with the Bucs with a different team or, retirement. So yeah, go ahead.
Quick question. So do you think maybe was Bruce Arians still being pissed off about the vaccine card thing?
Well, the thing is that he defended him like last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, with Bruce Arians. So this lady, I believe it was Sarah Walsh or someone like that, kind of grilled him on it and said, "You said back last year when you signed Antonio Brown that if there was any mistakes, he was gone. He was off the team. Has anything changed?" This was with Antonio Brown about to come back after the suspension. And Bruce Arians said, yes, things have changed. Antonio Brown has been a model citizen. He's bought in and he's done everything in his power to fit into this team. That was like 2 weeks ago. And so for shit to change this much in 2 weeks, I don't know what's going on. It's hard for me to really fully understand what's going on in Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
So,
if I can just have a theory I have out there.
yeah.
My friends and I talked about. This almost reminded us of the Rodman situation with the Bulls, and that sometimes he just needed to get away from the team, and then he
Yep.
came back, better than ever. Yeah, obviously this is unprecedented in the NFL for someone to do that, to just leave the team. But maybe that's why they haven't released him. They don't want somebody else to pick him up, and they know that they could use him in the playoffs.
Yep.
And in the NFL, the bottom line is that championship trophy. And if they think that he can help them 2-3 weeks on the road and say, hey, you know what, you're away from the team, be okay before you come back, and then help us win a game, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. And so I think that has to do a lot with why they haven't released him, is that they want him back, because I think they know that with him they have a better chance of winning the Lombardi.
I like that take a lot because I almost agree with it 100%. Like, that's a very strong possibility that, like, people got heated. Bruce Arians and Antonio Brown got mad at each other. Let's like take a break. Let's let Antonio Brown be away from the team for a couple days. Let Bruce Arians calm down. Let cooler heads prevail, and maybe we can salvage the situation. Let Antonio Brown get fully or healthy in time for the playoffs, and bring him back for the wild card round. I could see that 100%. Um, you know, that's a good analogy to the Dennis Rodman one. I mean, it's very similar. Like someone that's very unpredictable. The media loves to attack. You know what I mean? What do you think, Dustin?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything he said, and I have to say though, is
And
it the coach's decision to release somebody, or isn't it the
no,
front office?
it's the front office and ownership at the end of the day has final call. And that's why I believe that he hasn't been cut yet. Ownership's probably looking at this like, wait, what's going on here? Like, why are we freaking out? Like, isn't the goal to win the championship? Then if the goal is to win the championship, we're going to have to put aside our egos here at some point, come together for the common goal of winning. And we know the Bucks, I believe, know internally they're going to need Antonio Brown to win the whole thing. And if they do cut him, I bet a contender picks him up like that. Watch the Chiefs sign him like that, or someone else. You know what I mean?
We could definitely use him in Indy.
Yeah, someone would sign him, and that's what Josina Anderson was saying. Antonio Brown's too talented not to be on a playoff roster this year. So we'll see what happens. I like where you guys are going with that. Let's quickly get to the Raiders and Colts. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of the way here. A big ass game at Lucas Oil Field with playoff implications on the line. The Raiders needing to win out. Tito, we kind of counted this Raiders team out a couple weeks ago. After the bad loss, the second loss to the Chiefs, after where they were sitting at, I believe they were 500, right around there. You go on the road against a red hot Colts team. I believe the Colts come in on a winning streak. Am I correct on that, Dustin? What was their win streak going into this?
I believe it was 4 games.
3 games. 3 games going into this game. And Jonathan Taylor just running people over. They beat the Patriots in New England. And so, I picked the Colts to win. I didn't think the Raiders had enough to do it, but the Raiders get it done How excited were you that the Raiders were able to pull this out, Tito?
Yeah, I was very excited. I thought they had a chance. If they obviously played well, and obviously they did. And so yeah, I mean, I was very excited. I was obviously very nervous about it. I thought the Colts were playing really good football at this time. The Raiders don't necessarily have a good run defense, but I thought they did great against the Colts and holding
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Taylor. You're never going to really hold them down, but you got to do your best. And I thought they did their best and really made the Colts play through Carson Wentz, and I think that was ultimately their demise and why they lost. It
Now,
was a great win for the Raiders.
yeah, and we'll come back to you for more on this. But Dustin, part of the reason the Colts lost, and I've said this to you before, and you've agreed with me, that Carson Wentz is a little bit of a liability, a little bit of what holds this team back. For instance, so even on the 45-yard touchdown pass to T.Y. Hilton to start the second half, Wentz throws it deep and it's into double coverage. And he gets lucky that the ball gets tipped up and caught by T.Y. Hilton. He also missed T.Y. Hilton on a big 3rd and 8 to start the fourth quarter. This completion would have been huge. And, I'd put him in a position to score again. What do you think on how Carson Wentz played and how the Colts played in this game overall, Dustin?
Well, on Carson, man, I don't know. Carson's Carson. He overthrows people. He isn't trustworthy. And
He has his moments, though. He had that big touchdown against the Cardinals, last week.
that's the thing, though. It's when he wants to, but he just seems careless with the football a lot of times.
Yeah, smart decision making is key for these quarterbacks.
And our secondary is just terrible, man. I don't know what we're gonna do about that, but Derek Carr picked us apart.
Yeah. So Tito, let's see here. I mean, what are your thoughts on Derek Carr? So first of all, Derek Carr and the interim head coach, right? The Raiders have had to deal with so much adversity this year. First, John Gruden, no longer the head coach. Then, one of your star wide receivers, Henry Ruggs, no longer a part of the team. But Carr and the Raiders have battled through it and showed resiliency. And the fact that they're still in this position to make the playoffs is crazy to me. Where's your confidence meter in Derek Carr, who's come through a decent amount this year with some clutch drives to win the game? And where's your confidence meter going into this must-win game against the Chargers in Week 18?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good on Derek Carr right now. I will say I was one of those people that wasn't very happy with him and the way he was checking down. And I thought even in this game there were a few times that he checked down, but the secondary on the Colts were missing tackles and giving us first downs. But I think you have to learn and live with that. Some of his picks I thought were bad picks. The one to Deshaun Jackson. When you look at that pick, you think he's pressing. But at the same time, if I can't complain about him checking down and then complain about him throwing deep and intercepting the ball, he's taking the risk. And I think that's what the Raiders need at this time right now. They need to take those big risks and keep the defense honest. I really think that lets the defenses know, we're going to throw it down the field. So I thought Derek Carr played a great game. He stepped up in the pocket several times to deliver a good pass. That connection he has with Hunter Renfrow, I think, is one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I thought he played great. I'm really not mad about his picks. That second pick with Darius Leonard. Darius Leonard is a great player. He baited him into that pick.
Yeah.
He looked like he was going to go down to the check down with Hunter Renfrow, but instead comes back up. So, yeah, I thought Derek Carr played great. Back to your previous point about Carson Wentz, I was surprised that Carson Wentz played. I honestly thought that they should have kept Sam Ehlinger in the game, let him start, because knowing that you could win next week in Jacksonville, because he hadn't practiced with the team, and if he did have COVID and it wasn't just a close contact, he could have been actually sick. And you never know how a person is feeling. Some people feel good, some people feel bad. So I thought they should have kept with Sam Ehlinger, who prepared for the Raiders, instead of Carson Wentz, who looked like he just got off the plane and just got on the team and. That's how he played. He missed a lot of throws that I thought they could have won the game with. So I would have started Sam Ehlinger, really.
Okay.
Derek
Yeah,
Carr, great game.
nice. Yeah, that's a good point on that. Dustin, do you think that COVID, with how, Carson Wentz just tested positive not that long ago, so he had to rush to get back to be available to play to this game. Do you think that could have been part of the issue?
No, I mean, like I said, Carson is Carson, man. It doesn't matter how many practices he has; he's gonna make bad decisions.
Do you think so? How did you feel about the coaching job by Frank Reich? Did Jonathan Taylor get enough touches for your liking in this game?
No, and we never do it. It seems like every time Taylor's getting 6-7 yards a pop, he
Yeah.
decides, oh, it's third, it's 3rd and 4, and I'm gonna pass it. No, man, you're averaging 6.5 yards a carry right now. Run the football.
Yep. And so there's a lot of talk about these records going down because of an extra week, but Jonathan Taylor passes Edgerrin James for the most rushing yards in a single season in franchise history before week 18. So in the same amount of time that we'd normally play. Jonathan Taylor's been an absolute monster. And Dustin, you have to believe, if you guys are playing meaningful, must-win playoff games, you got to feed Jonathan Taylor. You can't rely on Carson Wentz. Feed Taylor and run the offense through Taylor, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, they need to keep also giving the ball into the hands of our playmakers. Let Naheem Hines go on screens. That seems to work every single time.
Yeah. Real quick, Dustin. So this should be an automatic win. The 9-7 Colts at the 2-14 Jags, a bad Jags team with an opportunity for the Colts to go to the playoffs. Although the Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014. How confident are you that the Colts can go get this dub and end that drought?
Actually, I'm pretty confident because I believe that the Jags want the first pick of the draft, so I don't even think that they'll even come ready to play.
That's true, but I mean, it's not like they're going to be sitting anybody. Trevor Lawrence is going to play. The normal starters, I believe, are going to play. But the Colts should be able to get it done. If they can't win this one, then, it's like, what the hell?
They just let the Patriots hang a 50-piece on them.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they have got to get this done, and I believe they will as well. But that stat is an interesting one. Tito, so Raiders interim coach Rich Bisaccia. I believe. Tell me what you think on this. If you agree with this, I believe he can earn the head coaching job if he does this. If he leads this Raiders team into the playoffs and gets an upset win in the wild card and gets a playoff win. I believe if he can get them into the playoffs and a playoff win, then bring Rich Bisaccia back, sign him to a deal. Do you think they would consider that?
Yeah, and I think they should. If they go with that scenario, they would have to make the playoffs and win the first playoff game, the wild card game. In that
Yeah.
scenario, I do think they bring him back. I think just making the playoffs won't cut it.
Yep.
And I would say bring the entire staff back. And in terms of money, I don't think you would have to pay Rich Bisaccia, anything like you were paying John Gruden. He's brand new to head coaching, but he's shown that he has this group together. These group of players like him. They're played hard for him. And so, yeah, I think if they get into the playoffs and win a playoff game, why not bring him back? He's shown that he can deliver.
Now, if he doesn't and they want to move on from Bisaccia, there's two candidates out of college that the Raiders are high on. The Raiders are looking at two candidates out of college. Who? Tell me if you know who they are, Tito. Who would you look at hiring?
If I'm not mistaken, I know one is Debo. From the Clemson coach.
Yeah.
I think one is the Clemson coach. At least that's what I thought. And then I thought the other one was Ryan Day from Ohio State. I could be wrong with that too. But those are the only two coaches that they should look at.
So there's two that I have written down, and neither of them are the guys you mentioned.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of talk right now. I know you're a Michigan fan, right?
Yes.
Okay, there is a lot of talk right now, especially today, surrounding your boy Jim Harbaugh. How do you feel about that? Do you think that, I mean, a lot of people are saying Jim Harbaugh would be interested in going back to the NFL. You would be upset if he leaves Michigan right now, wouldn't you?
That's a good question. I think that's a good question. I think what he did this year was very impressive. Um, but at the same time, he has a terrible record against Ohio State, Michigan State. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I think Jim Harbaugh would be a good hire. I don't see why
If,
not.
yeah, to your Raiders. Imagine he goes from Michigan to your Raiders. You'd be happy about that, I
Oh yeah, I'd definitely be going to Las Vegas for that.
think. And the other name that I have written down here is Stanford head coach David Shaw.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. How do you
Yeah,
feel about
that
that?
would. Yeah, that he would be a good coach too. You know, I don't see why not. David Shaw's a good coach, and yeah, I think that'd be great.
Here's the Bears homer in me, though. If Jim Harbaugh is leaving college football, if he's leaving Michigan, I believe it's for one job and one job only. The
That
Bears.
that's exactly what I would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's going to take a John Gruden contract, a 10-year, 100 mil type money to get him out of Michigan.
Yep. And I've seen Dabo Sweeney at the Raiders game, and so that's why I brought his name up.
That'd be an interesting
But
one.
yeah, I still don't know how I feel about a college coach coming up. You know, their track record isn't very good, even with
Yeah.
a great coach, even with great coaches. But yeah, it'd be an interesting hire. I'm excited to see who the Raiders get. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that it's an offensive guy. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm excited to see who they get.
Yeah, me too. It'll be interesting because the Vegas Raiders are a lot of fun to watch. And with the right head coach, it brings a lot of star power to the team and to the city. Tito, Chargers at Raiders on Sunday Night Football, prime time. All eyes are going to be on it. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, you're going to have, me and Dustin, Bears, Colts fans, everyone watching Raiders Chargers. How confident are you? Do you believe the Raiders, they're at home, can beat Justin Herbert and a pretty good Chargers team?
Yeah, I've thought about this quite a bit. The Raiders haven't been very good at home. I don't think that there's a lot of Chargers fans in this world, so I don't think they'll show up to the stadium. No, I think the Raiders will win. I think the Raiders will win. I think what we talked about in previous podcasts with the Chargers and how they shoot themselves in the foot by going for it too many times in fourth downs. I
Yep.
think the same thing's going to happen to them. You know, there's a saying, Chargers are going to charger because they miss field goals, they make bad decisions. That's just who they are, and I think that's going to show up again in this game. I think their aggressiveness is going to come back to bite them. The Raiders' defense has been playing better as of late. Those boys up front have been getting bigger somehow, and so yeah, I think the Raiders' defense is going to do just enough to keep Justin Herbert at bay, and I think we're going to pull out the win.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be a Raiders fan for this game. I'm picking the Raiders to win. And it's mostly because I don't like Brandon Staley. To that point, like you said, too aggressive, costing his team wins. I put Brandon Staley in a very similar boat as John Harbaugh, and I believe he's costing his team wins. And so for that reason, I'm picking the Raiders to win this. They're at home. And I like the story of an interim coach, taking a team that most people thought was dead and done for the year and reviving them and getting them into the playoffs. It'd be a cool story. How do you see this, Dustin? Who are you leaning towards? Chargers at Raiders for a playoff spot?
I'm actually leaning towards the Raiders, man. I still don't like the performance that the Chargers gave against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was a bad loss, man.
And the Raiders are going to watch film on that and see how Houston exploited them. And I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Yeah, and the Raiders are looking to avoid the season sweep to the Chargers. So, you can pretty much break it down like this, Tito. If you get, swept by the Chargers and finish, 9-8, maybe you don't deserve to make the playoffs. But if you can earn a split, then absolutely, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, I really think the Raiders are going to get this done. I think it's going to be a close game, a 3-point game. I think it's going to play out just like it has these last few games for the Raiders, where they're going to have to drive down the field. And Daniel Carlson has been money, and he's got some ice in his veins, and so I think it's going to be a 3-point win by the Raiders at the last second.
I'm happy about that too because I believe Daniel Carlson, Dustin, wasn't he out of Auburn?
I have to remember that one.
I think he was, and I was a fan of him coming out of college. And he was, I believe, drafted by the Vikings and like,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, underperformed. And I was always like, man, like I thought he was gonna be good. So it's nice to see him bounce back here with the Raiders.
He's a War Eagle.
Yep. All right. My memory is right on that. Let's do Tito, how much longer you got?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Okay. So I'm gonna do Dolphins Titans. Does that work for you?
Sounds
Or
good.
do you have one? Do you have a game you watched that you want to talk about?
No, Dolphins Titans is good.
All right. So yeah, 8-7 Dolphins at the 10-5 Titans. The Dolphins come in on a 7-game winning streak. And it's a Ryan Tannehill revenge game. You know, if you remember, Ryan Tannehill was drafted by the Dolphins and they're thought to be their franchise quarterback at one point. Dustin, we were so high on the Dolphins after starting 1-7 to be on a 7-game winning streak. I know you were rooting for the Dolphins to come in here and beat the Titans. What are your thoughts, man? The Dolphins just didn't bring it. They get blown their doors blown off 34-3.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they didn't bring it. They didn't play well at all. But you will never hear me say this, but give credit to the Titans, man. The Titans are looking damn good right now.
Bro, to that point, the Titans have won 11 or more wins in back-to-back seasons for the first time since 2003. Bro, I got to give a lot of love to head coach Mike Vrabel. He's becoming one of my favorite coaches, bro. And Dustin, Derrick Henry goes down, and this team keeps running the ball. This team's looking like the Niners. Just plug a running back in, and they're still moving the ball. Deontay Foreman looking like a mini Derrick Henry out there. And with Derrick Henry coming back maybe next week and in time for the playoffs, Titans looking to get the number 1 seed. This is looking to be a scary team. Do you agree? I
Yeah,
know you hate
absolutely.
them, but
I mean, you put what 34 points up against a pretty good Dolphins defense
yeah.
without your best player. So,
Yep. And the playoffs go through Tennessee. So if you do have to go up against a dangerous ass Chiefs team, it's not going to be an Arrowhead.
absolutely.
So the
I mean,
Titans they're looking good. Tito, what do you think of the Titans? I mean, 11-5, they cool off, one of the hottest teams in football, the Dolphins, and they got Derrick Henry coming back ASAP.
Yeah, I think the Titans are getting healthy just at the right time. Several of those losses were without Derrick Henry, without AJ Brown, without Julio Jones. And
Yep.
so now that they have AJ Brown and they're going to get Derrick Henry back, I think they're going to be good. Their offensive line, man, they're opening holes for everybody. It doesn't matter who's back there, and so that goes well into that goes deep into the playoffs. So, yeah, they're scary. They're getting scary at the right time. I think they've been playing good defense. Kevin Bird is playing great as a
Yep.
safety back there. So yeah, they're playing great. Honestly, I wasn't too into the Dolphins. I thought a lot of their wins, well, really all their wins were against bad teams. But
Yep.
you play who's in front of your schedule, and so good job for them. But now that they met a real contender in Tennessee, they got hit in the mouth. But no, Titans, man, they're gonna make some noise in the playoffs.
Now, everyone knows the Dolphins are a damn good defensive team. Flores will, have them going, but they allowed 34 in this one, so we'll see on that. But what are your thoughts? They only put up 3. What are your thoughts on Tua going forward? Is he the franchise guy for the Dolphins, or should they still be looking at maybe trying to get a guy like Deshaun Watson? Tito?
Yeah, I think they just should try and get a guy like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
I think Tua is still, unfortunately, not a greatest passer as he could be. I think he still has a lot of development that he can do there, and so I think that hinders his game and makes him really one dimensional. So I would try to get another quarterback, if not Deshaun Watson, at least another quarterback to come compete for the starting job, and instead of just giving it to Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And if he loses the starting position, so be it. But yeah, I think they need to go out and try to get an upgrade.
Yeah, Dustin, what do you think on this? All along, I've thought Dolphins Texans makes the most sense. You ship Deshaun Watson to Miami, where he wants to be, and you get Tua back in return. And if you're the Texans, you can try to develop Tua, who's got some upside, got some potential. You've got Davis Mills in there. So you can bring in Tua along with a haul of picks and have Tua and Davis Mills compete for who should be the starting quarterback. Don't you think that's honestly a pretty good scenario for the Texans to be in?
Absolutely. And I also look at it this way, that with Brian Flores being a defensive guy, I just feel like he would be better off with the quarterback who's already developed.
Absolutely. I agree. So I mean, let's make it happen. And the team that's holding it up is the Texans. Anytime a deal gets close, the Texans want to throw in another second round pick or, make the deal even more crazy. And it's like, man, just free Deshaun Watson. You're not gonna play him. He doesn't want to be there. Just get rid of the whole thing. So
Man,
well,
can you
Yeah,
imagine with those
Deshaun,
elite receivers?
what's that?
Deshaun Watson with those elite receivers over there?
Man, I would love to see that in Miami. That'd be a fun team to watch. And you throw Deshaun Watson in with Josh Allen in that division, the Dolphins and Bills would be a hell of a rivalry. And New England's always right there too.
Absolutely. It'd be, oh yeah, Mac Jones.
Yeah. You agree with that, Tito?
yeah, no, absolutely. Those receivers are pretty good. And so yeah, Deshaun Watson. I mean, yeah, that would be a great upgrade.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets moved sooner than later. And a great effort, a great fight by the Dolphins, but they just couldn't quite get it done. They're eliminated from the playoffs at 8-8. And we'll look to turn it around next year, maybe upgrade the quarterback position. So we'll see. Thanks for coming on, Tito. You can go if you need to go. It was always awesome having you on the show, man.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me, Dustin. Nice talking to you. Sorry the Colts had to win. Oh, sorry, the Raiders had to win. Sorry, that's like rubbing it in your face.
No, it's all
No, but
good.
yeah, it was great talking football, guys.
Dustin,
luck.
are you going to be rooting for the Raiders or are you going to try to stick it to Tito and pick the Chargers?
You know, I've never liked the Chargers because obviously, Indianapolis and Phillip Rivers
Yeah.
back in the day. So I'm actually gonna go Raiders, cheering for the
All
Raiders.
right. Nice. All right, Tito. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. Talk to you guys
Yep.
later.
Later, bro.
All right, bye.
All right, Dustin. You feeling all right?
Yeah, bro, I'm good. It's just, still like hot and stuff, but I'll be okay.
All right. You're not sounding that bad, so you're good. All right. Dustin, the Jags at the Patriots. The Patriots blow out the Jags 50-10. Trevor Lawrence throws 3 interceptions while Mac Jones throws 3 touchdowns. Just in a bubble right there, let's talk about this comparison. Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence taken number 1 overall. Everyone thought the best quarterback in the draft. Mac Jones, falls to New England. And a lot of people thought that Mac Jones, his skill set wasn't going to translate to the NFL. Looking at it just as it is right now, how do you compare these two? Who do you think got the better quarterback here long term?
Ooh, that's a tough question, man.
Yeah, I know.
You're hitting me with the hard one. You know, as long term, I still believe Trevor Lawrence. He just had the man in there to develop him. I mean, Urban Meyer really didn't seem to care to take the time to want to get him better.
Yeah. Do you think? Go ahead.
If you go and hire somebody like Jim Caldwell or
Yeah.
some Doug Peterson, I think those are perfect quarterback developers to get Trevor Lawrence going.
Yeah, I mean, he struggled this year. There's no way around it. 10 touchdowns and 17 interceptions for Trevor Lawrence.
But I mean, considering Mac Jones as head coach is a guru, so
yeah, and Josh McDaniels is a hell of a coordinator. I mean, we can't close the door on Trevor Lawrence yet because we've seen Peyton Manning struggle in his rookie year and throw a lot of picks. So it doesn't mean that Trevor Lawrence is a bust, but the Jags need to, see what's going wrong and get some people in there to get more out of Trevor Lawrence going forward. Absolutely. I mean, the Patriots put up 50 on the Jags. Just blow them out. Belichick ties Don Shula for the most 10 or more win seasons in NFL history with 20. So Bill Belichick continuing to do his thing. What do you think of the Patriots? Are they still contenders? We were talking about them maybe winning the AFC and going to the Super Bowl. Now they've kind of come down to earth a little bit, with some recent losses to the Colts and to the Bills. How do you feel about the Patriots going into the playoffs?
Well, you know what? To be honest, I actually think that if they had to face Buffalo again at Buffalo or, any of them other teams, I don't feel comfortable. I think that the New England Patriots lose.
All right. We're going to differ a little bit on that. Here's what I'm hoping. I am hoping for a 3-6 Bills-Patriots rematch in the wild card. This is what I'm rooting for. However, these games need to fall in Week 18. I want a Bills-Patriots rematch, and I'm telling you right now, I will be all in on the Patriots.
Even if they have to go to Buffalo?
Yep, even in Buffalo. I believe that. So it pretty much, I don't know about the Patriots coming out of the AFC, but if they have to go to Buffalo, a team they know very well, I trust Bill Belichick and the Patriots to go to Buffalo and get that win. I do.
I mean, I can't really debate you on that because of the past of Bill Belichick, but I just feel like the Bills are playing better football right now. They're not the same when New England went to Buffalo.
I agree. But I mean, it comes down to, if Bills Patriots was a best of 7 series, maybe the Bills win it in 6 or 7, in my opinion. But I don't think that it's a wide gap between the two teams. And I think that coaching would play a big role. Maybe Sean McDermott would be a tad too aggressive at times. And the Bills' lack of run game might come back to hurt them at some point. And the Patriots steal, a big road win in the first round of the playoffs. I could totally see it happening.
Yeah.
So we'll see on that. J.C. Jackson, Patriots corner. He's the first corner with 8 or more interceptions in back-to-back seasons since Richard Sherman in 2013. So J.C. Jackson getting it done for New England.
Yeah, and I mean, that defense is still potent over there, so.
Yeah, needs to be built around defense and running game, you know what I mean? And maybe a special teams big play.
Yeah, and I still think that it would have been a closer game in Indy had Damian Harrison played.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll speak on the Bills a little bit more here as well. Let's go to that real quick. Falcons Bills. So did you see in this game, they're playing in the snow. You're playing against a Falcons team that's below 500. So the Bills should take care of business and win this. But Josh Allen throws an interception on 3 consecutive possessions in this game. So Josh Allen isn't the perfect quarterback. At times Josh Allen makes the wild play and everyone goes, damn, this guy could be the best quarterback in the NFL, borderline. He's in the MVP conversation at times. But you can't be turning the ball over on 3 consecutive possessions like he did against Atlanta. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely not, especially if you're, wanting to beat the Chiefs or the Patriots or,
Titans, teams like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just man, I just hope that we don't have to go to Nashville and play at their stadium. Hopefully, they're eliminated by then.
Well, you got to look at it like this, though. If the Colts, I mean, they should be in the playoffs, and whoever they have to go on the road and play in the first round, it's going to be tough. I think right now it's setting up for Colts at Bengals, and that's not an easy game either.
Man, them receivers are crazy over there.
Yeah. So either way, it's going to be, the Colts are going to have to play defense and run the ball with JT. JT is going to have to carry him, bro, because I don't think that Wentz will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's actually a weakness of the Bengals is their run defense.
Absolutely. But the Bills, despite Josh Allen struggling, they do rally to win 29-15. They were actually down 15-14 at halftime, but they rally to win 29-15 and clinch a playoff spot. How about this, bro? We were high on Kyle Pitts, and as everyone was coming out of the draft, going into the draft, getting picked by Atlanta, he passes Julio Jones for most receiving yards in a season as a rookie in franchise history, 1,018 yards, and he needs just 58 yards in Week 18 to pass Mike Ditka as most receiving yards by a rookie tight end in NFL history.
Yeah, that's very very impressive. That kid's gonna be a star.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting what Atlanta does going forward at quarterback. I think most of us expect Matt Ryan to be gone after this year. And so it'll be interesting to see where they go at quarterback. And there is some debate too. Maybe they should have gone Justin Fields in the draft because you look at these next two drafts, there's no quarterbacks.
Yeah, this next two drafts are not very good quarterbacks, but I can see what Atlanta was trying to do though. They wanted to put weapons around their veteran quarterback because that's what they really lacked.
Yeah, and they wanted to, go one more year and try to make a playoff run with Matt Ryan, but I don't know. Does Matt Ryan have another deep playoff run in him at this age?
I say it depends on who he has for weapons and what team he goes to. I mean,
Yeah.
if you was to put him on Seattle, if Russell Wilson was to leave, I would definitely think that Matt Ryan would do some damage.
Yeah, it depends. It's got to be the right situation for him. And so we'll see where that ends up, where that goes. So Saints at Falcons in week 18. The Falcons are going for the sweep, and the Saints need this win and a 49ers loss to make the playoffs. How much confidence do you have in Taysom Hill and Sean Payton and the Saints to go into Atlanta and possibly sneak into the playoffs?
I mean, it's Sean Payton, and I trust Sean Payton. I just don't trust Taysom Hill as much.
Yeah. And
The
you
fact
need go ahead.
the fact that it's at Atlanta,
Yeah. I'm gonna say the Saints win this game. I'm gonna say they win in Atlanta, but I'm leaning towards the Niners beating the Rams. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Let's go to the Chiefs and the Bengals. So the Chiefs come in, they're the hottest team in football. 8-game winning streak. There's a lot of hype behind the Chiefs, pretty much running the table from here on out and winning a Super Bowl. That's what Chiefs fans are thinking, playing their best football at this time of year. The Chiefs jump out to a 14-0 and a 28-14 lead in this game. But the Bengals rallied, bro. The Chiefs only put up 3 second-half points in this game. What happened to the Chiefs, Dustin, to only put up 3 second-half points?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow was lights out, and the Chiefs couldn't defend those receivers. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. The Bengals have a hell of a receiving core, bro.
Yeah, man. that receiving core is scary, and they have the quarterback to get him the ball.
Yeah, and you keep seeing these images of Joe Burrow post game smoking a cigar. It's like, man, is this guy destined for a early in his career championship? Like that's the way the optics look around Cincy.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, man. If they can keep this same core, I mean, they have to improve their defense a little bit because the
Yeah.
defense is still a little suspect. But if they can get some key players on defense, they already have the franchise quarterback.
Jamar Chase catches touchdown passes of 73 yards and 69 yards in this game. And Jamar Chase stats on this game, 11 catches for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns.
God, that's insane.
That is insane. Fucking star. And the biggest game of the year, too, against a red-hot Chiefs team. A prove-it game for Cincy. And that's the most receiving yards by a rookie in NFL history.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember going back to the draft when we said that Jamar was going to be a better choice for the Bengals than getting an
Penei
offensive.
Sewell.
Yeah,
I mean, I wanted Penei Sewell. I thought that was the smart pick. But, I mean, the chemistry of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is undeniable.
yeah,
And,
man.
and
He's
you look at, let's go back to LSU. And they had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. No wonder they were so damn good.
Yeah, and now I thought, it was just the receivers that were making Burrow good, but I was wrong, man. That guy can play quarterback.
Yeah. And you add guys like CJ Uzama, Drew Sample, Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine. The Bengals got a team, man.
I think that they could. I don't know about you, but
Well, this is their first year, right? This is going to be their first year in the playoffs. They just won the AFC North. Usually it takes baby steps. They're not going to go in there and go to the AFC Championship game just like that. I think it's going to take a year or 2 or 3 for this team to be a true contender. So we'll see. I mean, it depends who they play in the playoffs. Like I said, if it's Colts at Bengals wild card round, that's an awfully tough game for your Colts.
yeah, it is. And honestly, I would rather play somebody else, man. Give me the Chiefs over the Bengals. I would rather play the Chiefs.
Wow. You're going to get Chiefs fans mad at you for that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has his flaws, and I think he would be more to throw a pick than Joe Burrow would.
Yeah, you could be right on that. But the Bengals did try to ruin this game. They had 4th and goal at the 1-yard line with the game tied at 31 and 50 seconds left. What the fuck are you doing not kicking the field goal there?
Well, 50 seconds left, bro. I mean, you have Patrick Mahomes on the other side. That's why.
Man, kick the field goal, take the lead, and
At the
trust your
1 yard line?
defense. Yes. You
Oh,
don't score there, and it's tied. I would much rather have the lead than be tied, even with Patrick Mahomes.
I see what you're saying, but I mean, you have the ball at the 1 yard line. That would be a waste of a drive.
Yeah, but they had what I believe 1st and goal at the 1. They had 3 straight plays that didn't get into the end zone. So after you've been stopped 3 straight plays, I'm kicking the field goal.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that.
It's tough. But the Bengals get bailed out. Illegal hands to the face sets them up with 1st and goal. They still don't, get it in. They run the clock down to 2 seconds and kick the field goal as time expires. So it works out. But, if they hadn't gotten that illegal hands to the face and it had been a turnover on downs there, Chiefs go and win the game, I think. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, because that was just too much time left for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. And all you need is a field goal. At least you kick the field goal and then the Chiefs only need a field goal to tie, and then you're going to overtime. I can live with that rather than if you go for it, turnover on downs, then all the Chiefs need is a field goal to win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um. So yeah, but the Titans lose or the Chiefs lose. This is something I don't think we saw coming. I mean, did you pick the Bengals to beat the Chiefs?
I actually did pick the Bengals.
That's pretty impressive. I think I did as well, but like I don't think we anticipated the Chiefs falling out of first place. And so now the Titans have first place and the Chiefs aren't going to have that, they might have to go on the road for the AFC Championship game. That kind of changes things a little bit.
Yeah, that's that there if it happens, the game not being in Arrowhead is huge.
Yeah. So yeah, let's go to Giants Bears real quick. Two bad teams duking it out. I'm proud to say I didn't watch a minute of this game live. Now I did have to watch it to prep for this interview, so I guess joke's on me or for this episode. But it's the Mike Glennon Giants against the Andy Dalton Bears. So I'm assuming you watched every minute of this game.
Dude, that was straight superstar status. You missed it.
The Bears destroy the Giants 29-3. Who the fuck cares? The Giants are on a 5-game losing streak. Bears linebacker Robert Quinn, who absolutely struggled last year. I mean, if you had told me this in preseason, I would have laughed at your face. But Robert Quinn has a hell of a year and breaks the Bears franchise record for sacks in a season with 18, passing Richard Dent. I never would have saw that coming. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great season. Unfortunately, he just didn't. He's not on a great team.
Yeah. I mean, if you had told me someone's going to break the franchise record for sacks, I would have said Khalil Mack, not Robert Quinn. But this isn't even the greatest season of Robert Quinn's career, as back in 2013, he had 19 sacks.
Yeah, he's always been a great player.
Yeah. Mike Glennon is terrible. He throws 2 picks and fumbles 4 times, losing 2 of them. So 4 turnovers in the game for Mike Glennon. How does Mike Glennon keep getting jobs in the NFL?
Bro, I have no idea. I think he's just one of them that are like, man, we know we suck, so it's no disrespect.
No, for real. Who was the guy the Vikings started?
Sean Mannion.
Sean Mannion. Warren Sapp tweeted something like, "How do these guys keep getting opportunities?" Sean Mannion, Mike Glennon, and I tweeted him the same reason Mike Glennon does, and he kind of laughs at that. It's like, dude, these guys
Well,
suck, man.
And I mean, what's next for the Giants? I mean, is Joe Judge gone or what?
I believe Joe Judge is gone and should be gone. So they're going to have a new head coach. And what do you do with Daniel Jones? I mean, they're in an interesting position. The Giants haven't been good for a while now, and they need a quarterback. They need a head coach. They need quite a few things there in New York.
Yeah, they have a decision to make too, because I heard earlier that they might trade Saquon Barkley also.
Yeah, yep. Saquon Barkley, unfortunately, he's given a lot of us Todd Gurley vibes. A very special couple seasons and then injuries.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. For my Bears, they need to fire Matt Nagy ASAP. I've been saying that for 3 years now, but they should actually do it this offseason. And bro, I don't any means possible offer Jim Harbaugh that 10-year, 100 mil. I don't care what the money is. Get Jim Harbaugh in Chicago. Bring that winning football resume. He's a proven quarterback developer, and he's got a winning record against the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and I also just want him to go to the Bears so people can stop telling me that I'm delusional.
Well, it's funny. I mean, Michigan fans, they're not telling you that because they think you're 100% wrong. They're telling you that because they're hoping you're wrong and they don't want to see it happen. Their emotions are like, hell no, I don't want Jim Harbaugh to leave. But bro, there's a lot of momentum right now for Jim Harbaugh wanting to go back to the NFL. The Raiders want him. The Bears want him. and there's going to be a lot of money on the table for him if he does.
Do you see the Bears though offering him that much money?
I hope so. I mean, I don't trust our ownership or front office to do anything smart. I can tell you that right now. It sounds like Ryan Pace is going to stay, our GM, but my fingers are crossed. I mean, Jim Harbaugh wants Chicago. He said that before. So hopefully we're smart enough. He's a former Bear quarterback. It seems like a Bears type decision. It does. So I'm hoping we have some common sense here and hire the right guy.
I mean, I'm sure they've already been on the phone with him at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah,
Because
I
don't
hope
you have
so.
like a 2-week gap where you can contact coach?
Yeah, I'm sure we've been on the phone with him, but it would have been nice to fire Matt Nagy, 2-3 weeks ago and get a head start on our head coaching search.
Yeah, I agree. But the Bears are sticking to their guns. I mean, they've never fired a coach mid-season, right? Or towards the end of the season.
Yeah, but every once in a while you get a head coach in that is a pile of shit, and sometimes it's better to just not stick to your guns and get that pile of shit out of your organization.
What if they don't fire Nagy though?
No, they're going to. And if they don't, then I'm gone. You're not going to see me repping the Bears, so we'll see what happens.
He's gone though.
He is. And if we get Jim Harbaugh, then I'll shut the hell up about the Bears being a bad team, and I'll be all in. I would love the combination of Jim Harbaugh at head coach and Justin Fields at quarterback. How cool would that be? Michigan, Ohio State. You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you feel about Bill Lazor? Do you think if Harbaugh got the job, he would retain him or go get the dude from Michigan, bring him with him?
I don't know who he would hire. I don't think it would be Bill Lazor. I think Jim Harbaugh would have his own guy that he would bring with him. And ideally, what I would love is like Jim Harbaugh at head coach and bring back Vic Fangio as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, but for that to happen, he'd have to get fired in Denver.
There's a chance he might, though. And let's go to that. Broncos 7-8 at the 8-7 Chargers. Chargers jump out to a 17-0 lead and win 34-13 to stay alive in the playoff race. Broncos are eliminated. They fall to 7-9. I mean, if you were the Broncos, would you bring back Vic Fangio?
I mean, this is only his second year, right?
Yeah. And the defense isn't bad.
Yeah, give him time because there's going to be a lot of quarterback controversy. So in the offseason, and he could get that diamond in the rough.
Yeah, that's how I think if the Broncos are patient with Vic Fangio for one more year and they leave him to deal with the defense and they are able to bring in a guy like Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or even at worst Matt Ryan. I mean, if you're patient one more year, I think this is a playoff team with the right quarterback.
Absolutely. They have a nice young stars on the outside. But, okay, my question is, if they were to get Aaron Rodgers, would he want Vic Fangio there, or would he try to make them go in a different direction?
I think he'd be all right with Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio will be pretty much a defensive guy. He'll let Aaron Rodgers have a lot of control on the offensive side. And then it depends who their offensive coordinator is, but that's going to be part of Aaron Rodgers' decision too, is being like, well, who are you going to have, who's my offensive coordinator, who are my weapons, the entire thing. And we'll see if Aaron Rodgers still plans on leaving Green Bay.
He's having fun there, bro.
Well, so hear me out. What do you think of this? So let's say the Packers, I think we can pencil him in right now in the NFC Championship game. The question is, do they go to the Super Bowl or not? Let's say the Packers lose again, a third straight year in the NFC Championship game. Do you still think Aaron Rodgers returns?
No.
Exactly. It's got to be Super Bowl or bust.
Absolutely. And I also think it comes down to the decision in the offseason if they're going to re-sign Devontae Adams or not.
Yes. So, I strongly believe Aaron Rodgers is gone. I think that they go to the NFC Championship game and they lose again for a third straight year. And then Aaron Rodgers is like, well, this is the Packers' ceiling right now. NFC Championship game, that's it. So let me go somewhere where I can take the next step and finish my career with a championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
Whether that be Pittsburgh or Denver, I would be leaning. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, you go to Pittsburgh, you got T.J. Watt on the defense. You got a nasty defense. You got some weapons on offense. You got Najee Harris. You got Mike Tomlin at head coach. I think the stability is more in Pittsburgh than in Denver.
Yeah, speaking of Mike Tomlin, dude, 15 seasons with winning seasons, that's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Steelers know how to do it, and it's helped to have Big Ben there for all those years as well. I mean, Denver's got to figure out, like we said, the quarterback position, because Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock are not it. I see Teddy Bridgewater very similar to like Tyrod Taylor. He's like that quarterback you bring in as the veteran to help develop a young guy, but he's not your franchise quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, he's that guy where you could play him one or two games and squeak out a win.
Yeah, but he's not your 17-game starter. Drew Lock is a good backup, but he's not a starting quarterback. I can see Drew Lock being a decent backup almost anywhere, but just not a starter. Do you agree?
Oh man, I don't even know. Like last year, if you remember, I was very high on that guy, and then
Yeah,
he turned out to be terrible. I would just let him go and keep Bridgewater as a backup.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I could see them both gone, to be honest. So who knows in Denver? Maybe they go Brett Ripien as the backup. um, so Chargers improved to 9-7. So I mean, Chargers Raiders is going to be so much fun to watch. I can't wait for that game on Sunday night.
Yeah, there's going to be so much on the line. It's going to be emotions, especially with if they make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Recent passing of John Madden and all that.
yep. And I like the Raiders a lot more than I like the Chargers right now. And I'm not a fan of Brandon Staley, the head coach. How do you see the comparison between Drew Carr and Justin Herbert? I think Herbert might be slightly more talented, but for one game to go to the playoffs, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I would rather take the veteran who's been there before. So
Okay. Yeah, we'll see on Herbert. It's a prove it game for both these guys. I mean, Derek Carr's never led a team to the playoffs either. I mean, he was that one year, but then he got hurt, and then it was Connor Cook in the playoffs.
okay, but with the Chiefs being the 2 seed, the winner of that game would be the 7th seed, and we all want Kansas City gone. The better matchup would be LA, though.
It would be Chargers Chiefs, because I mean the Chargers could win that if they would pull their head out of their ass and stop going for it and kick field goals. I'm never gonna let that go. All right, let's go Texans Niners real quick. Trey Lance making his second career start. Texans actually lead 7-3 at halftime. It took a while for the Niners offense to get going, but they pull away 23-7 and get the win. Trey Lance throws 2 touchdowns and combines for 280 yards. Jimmy G battling a torn thumb ligament. We've seen Jimmy G struggle when healthy and throw picks and cost his team a win. Being that he might still be a little injured, who would you trust to get a win in LA in Week 18? Rookie Trey Lance or a slightly injured Jimmy Garoppolo?
I'm gonna go with Trey Lance because we seen last week the Rams seem to have trouble with quarterbacks who can extend plays
Okay.
and can move with their legs, and I think Trey Lance would be able to extend plays and keep the defense, on their heels.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this game regardless of who starts. I hope it's Trey Lance. I do. I think Trey Lance gives the Niners an upside that Jimmy G doesn't. Jimmy G is that, like, veteran that's seen it all. He's been to a Super Bowl before. But I think that Trey Lance can give them some upside and some explosiveness if he can take that next step. And maybe the playoffs bring it out of a young guy like Trey Lance. And
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll get a good inclination of how well he's ready for the bright lights on Sunday at the Rams in SoFi.
in my opinion, if he wins this game, Jimmy G doesn't play another snap for San Francisco.
Yeah, because it would be a monster. It'd be a massive win. And I agree. You got to ride with the guy that got you there. And in my opinion, that'd be Trey Lance. And that'd be a lot of fun to see. I'm rooting for the Niners big time in that game. What do you see the Texans? They fall to 4-12. Davis Mills, running the show, rookie quarterback Davis Mills. I mean, do you like the idea of trading Deshaun for Tua and getting a guy like Tua in Houston, or is Davis Mills the guy going forward? I don't know what to think of this Texans team. I think they're going to be in for a long rebuild.
Yeah, they're in for a long rebuild, unfortunately, because if this situation didn't happen with Watson, I think they'd be a pretty good football team. But
Yeah. Well,
Watson's
it wasn't just this situation. Before this situation even started with the lawsuits against Deshaun Watson, he wasn't going to play for him. He was done. He wanted out.
Yeah,
So yeah.
but I do like the trade for Tua because I think Tua would be able to have a fresh start.
Yeah, I do too. I think that'd be best for everybody involved. And but Tua might not like it in Houston. Like, the Texans are one of those organizations that are really poorly run front office and ownership. And that's the biggest issue there.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it actually all started with the Bill O'Brien thing like 2 years ago, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. And I forget his name, but the guy that's pretty much running the show there is like, he's not an NFL, he's not a football guy at all. He's just a business guy, and he's pretty dumb.
Huh.
I know Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk hates on him all the time, but I can't remember his name. Panthers at Saints. Sam Darnold versus Taysom Hill. Panthers bring in a 5-game losing streak. The Panthers actually lead 10-9 at halftime, but the Saints get an 18-10 win. Cam Jordan 3.5 sacks, so a big win for the Saints, setting up Saints at Falcons. But the Saints are going to need some help along with a road win. So we'll see if the Saints can sneak into the playoffs. Do you see the Saints as a legit playoff team? Because I don't. I think even if they do make the playoffs, they get beat pretty handedly in the first round. I would much rather see the Niners in the playoffs than the Saints.
Yeah, I just don't. To go far in the playoffs, you have to have a quarterback.
You don't think Taysom Hill's got it?
I don't.
Me neither.
No disrespect. He's a great player. I mean, the dude is very, athletic, but they need a real quarterback. He's more of a hybrid player. He's not a real quarterback.
Yes, exactly. He's good in his role as a hybrid, as a weapon, much more so than a true quarterback. Panthers head coach Matt Rule falls to 10-22 as Panthers head coach. He's expected to be fired. And in the offseason, the Panthers elected to pick up Sam Darnold's fifth year of his contract. So for 2022, unless he's traded, which seems highly unlikely, because who's going to want to take this on? The Panthers are going to have to pay Sam Darnold $19 million.
Wow.
So good luck, Carolina.
Yeah, so my thing is, though, why are these organizations only giving coaches 2 or 3 years? It takes at least 5 years to build a team.
Well, because they're not getting it done, then they don't have any patience. People want to win now. They don't want to wait 3 years to win. They want to win this year. And fans get upset quickly, and people can't deal with the hot seat and the pressure that the media puts on him. The media constantly writing negative things about him, online and social media, and people can't withstand that for more than 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, if you inherit a team that's just not that talented, it's not your fault. It takes time to build talent and draft players.
Yeah, but the fan perception and the media paints it as it is your fault. And they don't allow they don't allow the patience. Ideally, sure, give them 5 years to slowly build a team, but it doesn't work that way in the NFL anymore. The pressure is too much. The owners get mad. The pressure gets put on the front office and the coaches to win now. That's the way it is everywhere in the league. And that's why I was mad that Matt Nagy made it, lasted 4 years with the Bears, because it was obvious after 2 that he needed to go. And that's just the way it goes in the NFL, whether fair or not. The heat and the pressure, people can't withstand it. And the pressure to win now is much higher than, the patient approach. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, I wouldn't like Dan Campbell. I don't see him lasting very long either.
I know, so Brett said on the podcast last week that his confidence meter and happiness meter in Dan Campbell was at a 10. But if you're not winning, and I believe this is like a 3 or 4 year rebuild in Detroit. So if you're not winning, I don't think Dan Campbell's going to withstand it. So they're going to use Dan Campbell as the fall guy. Mark my words. Trust me on this. Watch. 2 years from now, Dan Campbell's going to be gone. The team's going to be more rebuilt, and they're going to give a new head coach a rebuilt team. They're not going to give Dan Campbell that rebuilt team.
Yeah,
they're gonna point to his record and say, "Well, you're not built. You're not good enough to take this good rebuilt roster to the next level."
yeah, and I mean, the proof of that is they
You see it all the
fired
time.
Jim Caldwell when he went 9-7.
Yeah, there's fall guys. Look at Hugh Jackson in Cleveland. They knew all along that was a major rebuild, right? And just as they finally draft Baker Mayfield, who's supposed to be the franchise guy, they were actually 2-3 and turning things around after going 1-31, and they fired Hugh Jackson because they wanted someone else. And they made Hugh Jackson the fall guy for a major rebuild. They're going to do the same thing to Dan Campbell, in my opinion. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go to Lions at Seahawks. The Tim Boyle led Detroit Lions against the 5-10 Seahawks. The Seahawks destroy the Lions. They jump out to a 38-7 lead and blow out Detroit 51-29. Russell Wilson throws 4 touchdowns, 3 of them to DK Metcalf. We look at the Seahawks and we see the potential of Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Where was the offensive explosion that we saw on Sunday all season long?
Yeah, I mean, that's some. Well, it's a bad Lions team, so I
It
take that
is,
consideration.
but the talent's there. Why can't the Seahawks put up 30 points on average defenses with these weapons?
That is a Pete Carroll problem then.
Yep, and it's a Seahawks problem because I think Pete Carroll's gonna retire after this year. And that might not be for good. He'll probably retire and then go coach college at some point after that. But I think he retires, and I think Russell Wilson demands a trade, and I think the Seahawks are staring at a major rebuild.
Yep, I agree.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the Seahawks. And the bad news for Detroit, just as they're looking at a major rebuild, we talked about this earlier, there's not, great quarterback talent coming out this year or next year. So what do you think the Lions do at quarterback? Is it Jared Goff until they find somebody?
I mean, that would be the only thing that makes sense. At least you have somebody, who's a veteran and stuff, but
Yeah.
that would have to be the man until, there's some, because in the future, like Bryce Young, Caleb Williams, all these other guys, I think are going to be great coming out of college. So,
You see Caleb Williams is leaving Oklahoma?
yep. And I was trying to say, man, Marcus Freeman needs to throw everything at him.
There you go. Dude, if you got him, that would be something.
Notre Dame is a blue chip quarterback away from a championship. That's what's holding us back.
Yeah.
If
We're
we
better
got
than Jack Cohen.
Hey, did you see the news that CBS Sports just reported?
What's that?
They said that Jim Harbaugh has very, very high interest in returning to the Bears or the Raiders, and this was just reported that I guess he's been in talks a little bit or something.
Hell yeah. Dude, hey, we'll be pretty early on this. We've been saying Jim Harbaugh to the Bears for a while now.
It's crazy that they have the Raiders listed first, though.
Well, the Raiders are right there. The Raiders want Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh wants Chicago. The Raiders are trying to woo Jim Harbaugh away from Chicago. So the Raiders have the money to do it too. They gave John Gruden a 10-year, $100 million. The Bears are going to have to pay to get Jim Harbaugh. But I am telling you right now, Jim Harbaugh is leaving Michigan. He's going back to the NFL. Whenever there's this much smoke, there's fire.
And I believe he, just like Brian Kelly, reached his peak and did what he could do at Michigan.
Yep. You look, everyone's leaving college right now. Everyone's moving. So Jim Harbaugh is like, you know what? Let me get back to the NFL too. I strongly believe it.
And not only that, but imagine he could open up the door for the coaches starting to get big pay raises. I mean, if you bring in Jim Harbaugh at 10 years, $100 million, then that's going to open the door for other big names.
That'll be, more so the going rate for big names. Yes. John Gruden set the standard, and the Bears are going to have to match it to get Jim Harbaugh. And that's why Harbaugh is also tempted to leave, because he sees that big payday. Let's go Cardinals at Cowboys. The Cardinals bring in a 3-game losing streak to Jerry World, and the Cowboys bring in a 4-game winning streak. So all signs were pointing to the Cowboys staying hot going into the playoffs and the Cardinals coming to a screeching halt. But the opposite happens as the Cardinals beat the Cowboys 25-22. Not only that, but the Cowboys lose wide receiver Michael Gallup to a torn ACL, a big loss going into the playoffs. So a lot changes in Dallas in just one game.
Yeah, a big loss, obviously. And you know what, man? I have no faith in Mike McCarthy. I think he's not that great of a coach.
Man, Mike McCarthy, and let's throw Dak Prescott in there while we're at it.
He puts up the numbers, though. I mean,
he puts up the numbers, but does he win the big games? I don't know. I'm not, he didn't beat the Raiders on Thanksgiving. He didn't win this game. He puts up massive numbers and blows out Washington, but you got to beat good teams to go deep in the playoffs. I'm not seeing it, bro. I think the Cowboys are the Cowboys. They're going to go into the playoffs, maybe win one game, and lose in the divisional round like they always do.
Yeah, that's what I was saying is I don't trust Mike McCarthy. In my opinion, it's not so much Dak. It's him.
All right. Well, maybe it's Mike McCarthy. Maybe it's a little bit Kellen Moore. Maybe it's Dak Prescott a little bit too. I think they're all involved in it. But they got to play better. And they didn't bring it against the Cardinals. They didn't play well enough to win on either side of the ball. Like we've been praising the defense. The defense didn't play that well either.
Boy, I'm telling you, them being from Dallas, Tampa being from Tampa, And the Rams, none of them, they're going to hate to have to go to Lambeau.
Yeah, it's true, but there's one guy that I trust to go into Lambeau.
Yeah, I know.
That's the fucking goat. Now, big win for the Cardinals to snap their losing streak just in time for the playoffs. Does this win help you believe in the Cardinals going into the playoffs?
Oh, boy. No.
I agree. So much
Nope.
so that I'm picking the Seahawks to beat the Cardinals next week.
Ooh, now that might be going a little bit too far.
Yeah, it might be, but I'm a Cardinals hater. But I'm picking the Seahawks to win. That's how much I don't believe in this Cardinals team. I think it was a one-game fluke.
I mean, them beating Dallas, I mean, that was a big win. They went against a top 5 defense.
Yeah, it was a big win, but I don't think it translates. So we'll see. I could be wrong. I'm a hater. Everyone knows that. But Cowboys at Eagles on Saturday night. We got 2 Saturday games. I don't know how good they're going to be. Chiefs, Broncos. That's probably not going to be a very good game on Saturday. And then Cowboys at Eagles. Both teams have clinched. We'll see how good of a game it is. Maybe the Cowboys are still fighting for position, but what do you think of that?
I mean, it would be a huge win for either team. You're about to enter the playoffs. Why not enter the playoffs with a huge divisional win?
Bro, if the Eagles beat the Cowboys and the Cowboys are on a 2-game losing streak, the Cowboys might not win a playoff game.
Man, that would be crazy. Imagine the talk in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. Skip would be losing his mind. Skip Bayless. And then that could propel Philly. I mean, what? Philly's on a winning streak. How much did we say? 4 games?
Yeah, I believe it was 4 games, 4 or 5.
So you take a 4-game winning streak into a game against the Cowboys. If they go into the playoffs on a 5-game winning streak, the Eagles could be a lot scarier than we ever would have thought.
Where's this game at?
In Philly.
Ooh, it's gonna be cold and
Yeah. That'll be a fun game Saturday night. You've talked me into it. At first I was like, I don't know how good it's gonna be. You talked me into it. I'm gonna be watching that one for sure.
Well, yeah. You say that there's not much on the line, but in my opinion, there is. This is about who gets the momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and Cowboys, Eagles, it doesn't matter. It's always they hate each other.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs and Broncos could be a decent game too.
Come on now. Who's the Broncos quarterback?
I mean, Teddy Bridgewater, but
I bet it'll be Drew Lock. Bridgewater's been hurt.
Oh, Drew Lock's playing?
Yeah.
Is Mahomes playing?
Probably. I think so, because if the Chiefs win and the Titans lose, the Chiefs would get the 1 seed. I think they're still trying to get that 1 seed.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I don't know. The week 18 kind of throws me for and I think more often than not nowadays, the starters play week 17 almost regardless.
Yeah.
Let's go Sunday night football. Vikings at Packers. The Vikings, with Kirk Cousins out with COVID, the Vikings start backup quarterback Sean Mannion making his 3rd career start. So we all knew this was going to be a bad game. Packers jump out to a 20-0 lead and blow out the Vikings 37-10. The Packers clinch the NFC's number 1 seed. So the road to the Super Bowl goes through Lambeau, just like you were saying all along. Like you said, who wants to go to Lambeau? The Packers have 13 straight home wins in Lambeau.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. They're almost unbeatable there.
But who won in Lambeau in last year's NFC Championship game?
Well, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady and them Bucks. It would help if they can get Antonio Brown for that game. We'll see. I liked what Tito was saying about maybe they can, save it, save the relationship. We'll see. They need him.
We were talking, because I believe we had watched that game together, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers kind of had, nobody within 10 yards of him and didn't even run it
Didn't
into
run. Yeah. And
that
they
would have,
didn't go for it on fourth down. They kicked the field goal instead, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting. I think the Packers will be more aggressive this time around. If it's Packers Bucks or regardless, if the Packers have that opportunity in the NFC Championship game at home to go to the Super Bowl again, I think they're going to be much more aggressive this year than they have been the last two.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's Super Bowl or bust in Green Bay. For the Vikings, I wish they had started Kellen Mond because Sean Mannion was obviously not very good. And we would all rather see Kellen Mond, get an opportunity. Do you agree?
Yeah, and see, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, well, why is Sean Mannion playing? I mean, Kellen Mond is a guy who you drafted.
He's the future. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. So why not give him a shot? Like, that was a total slap in the mouth, in my opinion.
Well, did you see the quote from Mike Zimmer post game?
Where he said something about he's not gonna keep looking at him or something.
So Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer post game was asked, "Do you want to see Kellen Mond play next week?" He said, "Not particularly." They said, "Why not?" He said, "I see him every day." That's not a great endorsement. So
Wow.
it's leading. Yeah, that's bad when your head coach says that. So it's leading me to believe that Mike Zimmer doesn't like what he's seeing from Kellen Mond. So maybe Kellen Mond is further away development-wise than he should be.
Yeah, but I think that opinion is irrelevant anyway, because I think Mike Zimmer's gone.
You might be right about that. The Vikings fall to 7-9, miss the playoffs, they're eliminated. You might be right. The Vikings might be looking for a head coach. We'll see after this year. It'll be Bears at Vikings on Sunday, which who gives a damn? And Packers Lions, which who gives a damn? The Packers, NFC goes through Lambeau. I don't trust Matthew Stafford and the Rams to go into Lambeau and get a win. I don't trust Dak Prescott. I don't trust, certainly not Kyler Murray. So my only hope to go into Lambeau and come out of the NFC is my preseason pick, the GOAT, Tom Brady. He's done it time and time again. Hopefully he can do it one more time.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's on the mind of Aaron Rodgers, and like you said, it's Super Bowl or bust. And I think this is a year for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, this is their best opportunity. They have to do it. Otherwise, Aaron Rodgers is probably gone, and Devontae Adams probably is too.
Hey, yeah, and I mean, Brady throws a lot of picks in the postseason, so he better hope he doesn't get too far behind against a good team.
I disagree with that take. He throws picks in the regular season at times. He doesn't throw them in the postseason. Not in my opinion.
Games where he does, but
rarely though. And last year it was Drew Brees that threw the pick that changed that game against the Saints, not Tom Brady. Because Brady, in 2 games against the Saints last year, and even this year, Brady threw picks against the Saints. But the difference was that he protected the ball in the playoffs. So yeah. I just think Brady's a different animal when it's winner take all postseason, winner go home. Brady turns it on to the next gear, suddenly starts making plays that you're like, that's the GOAT right there. And protecting the ball, not turning it over, especially in the clutch. Like if it's NFC Championship game, down 3 with 2 minutes to go and Brady's got the ball, you telling me he's throwing a pick?
Oh, man.
He's not. He's going to go win that damn thing. So let's go. Go ahead.
If he's facing Jalen Ramsey, bro, I think Jalen Ramsey comes up with a big play to pick off Tom Brady.
No way. You're telling me Matthew Stafford-led Rams are going to beat Tom Brady in the playoffs? You tripping, bro. No way. I'm going to say right here, I don't know if the Rams win a playoff game. Matthew Stafford's got to prove he's got to get that monkey off his back. He had 3 opportunities in Detroit to win a playoff game, 0-3.
Yeah, that's true, but he didn't have very, very good teams. I mean,
this is the best team he's had by far.
Yeah, so, this is a put up or shut up moment. You have to do something here.
Absolutely. I mean, these playoffs, you know how it goes. The playoffs are what set the narratives. We talk about what happened in last year's playoffs all season long. That's why I say Brady can go into Lambeau. And it's why, the Packers, you know what I mean? Like the narrative gets made in the playoffs, not the regular season. The Chiefs can start 3-4 all they want. If they're in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a threat. There's just certain quarterbacks that elevate their game when it's all on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go Monday Night Football. The Browns at the Steelers. Big Ben's final game at Heinz Field. This was fun to watch as the Steelers win 26-14 and keep their playoff hopes alive. We've been saying it all along. Feed Najee Harris. He's the recipe. He goes for 188 yards and a touchdown and passes Franco Harris for most rushing yards by a rookie in franchise history at over 1,100. 1,100 yards for a rookie. Najee Harris, man, he's beasting right away in the NFL.
Yeah, he's playing some very good football, and I think the future is bright over there.
Yeah. And then this is something, that we got to talk about. TJ Watt records 4 sacks last night against Baker Mayfield and the Browns, leads the NFL with 21.5 sacks, and is just 1 sack away from the all-time NFL record set by Michael Strahan in 2001 of 22.5 sacks.
Yeah, and see, hopefully he wins Defensive Player of the Year because, in my opinion, he got snubbed last year.
Yeah. I think it means more to get this sack record than the DPOI.
I mean,
what do you think?
Yeah, isn't he trailing his brother or something?
No, Michael Strahan at 22.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's gonna beat that on Sunday for sure.
He's got to get 1 would tie it, 1.5 would break it, 2 would break it. So we'll see if he can do that. They'll be taking on the Ravens. We'll see if it's Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley. With the Ravens eliminated, I bet it's Tyler Huntley. And he's athletic and elusive out there, so we'll see if TJ Watt can get to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. TJ Watt should win DPOY for sure. Now, What do you think of the Browns? So I know they're eliminated from playoff contention, but you've got Baker Mayfield back there with a torn labrum in his shoulder, a messed up throwing shoulder. And they only give Nick Chubb 12 carries. A lot of the narrative last night was, what the hell are the Browns doing offensively, not feeding one of the best running backs in the entire game? And that's been a narrative throughout the season on why the Browns have been struggling and maybe a big reason why they're not going back to the playoffs. Why do you think the Browns are refusing to feed Nick Chubb? I mean, there's an epidemic of that around the league, whether it be the Colts with Jonathan Taylor, the Bears with David Montgomery. Why are teams not feeding the running back when the running back is like the best player offensively?
It's a passing league, and it's a quarterback league. That's why.
Yeah, and you can win running the ball and probably be more successful running the ball, but these hard-headed offensive play callers are just so enamored with the pass, and it's hurting their own teams, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Indy could have put the Raiders away after going up 17-13, but we got pass happy.
Yeah. Feed the running backs, man. It's hurting these teams, and I don't understand it. Kevin Stefanski, he got a lot of praise last year, and now they're going to miss the playoffs. And a lot of signs, a lot of people are going to point to an injured Baker Mayfield. I'm going to point to Kevin Stefanski not feeding Nick Chubb enough. Run the ball, man.
And actually, in my opinion, I believe the league is in the best place with running backs it's been in years.
Yeah, it really is. There's a lot of talent.
You got studs. You got Nick Chubb, Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, and so on.
Yep, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Dalvin Cook, Aaron
Eli-
Jones. Yeah, Najee Harris is a rookie. Plenty of these guys. Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris, New England. A lot of weapons. So the Browns fall to 7-9, eliminated from the playoffs. What do you think about the Browns? What do they got to do? I mean, they already signed, agreed to the option for Baker Mayfield for 2022. I think Kevin Stefanski returns as head coach. So what do the Browns need to do going into next year? There's going to be a lot of questions about can they bounce back from a pretty bad 2021.
Yeah. Well, for one, Baker will be healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's going to have surgery. He said it post game. He said, I'm really beat up.
Yeah. So with him having surgery, I think they'll be a little bit better. And for the people who say that the Browns should move on from Baker, in my opinion, are crazy because the Browns know their history and they don't want
long history of bad quarterback play.
not only that, but long history of bad coaches.
Yeah. Well, do you think that Kevin Stefanski is still the answer? And I mean, we've seen even a healthy Baker Mayfield struggle at times. Would you agree?
I agree, but a healthy Mayfield last year did take them to the playoffs.
Well, it starts, yes, keeping Baker Mayfield healthy. How do you help do that? By running the ball more and, feeding Nick Chubb and playing defense and all that. So we'll see what the Browns do, how they retool their roster. Here's something we haven't talked about yet. If the Colts were to lose and the Steelers win in Baltimore, the Steelers would steal the Colts spot in the playoffs. Any worry about that? And are you rooting for the Ravens because of that?
Well, I mean, what happens if both the Colts and Steelers lose?
The Colts are in, I believe. So if the Colts lose, no, actually, if the Colts lose, a bunch of things have to happen for them to still make the playoffs. They need to focus on and beat the Jags.
Which I think if there's a time to end that streak since 2014, it's now. The Jags are not very good.
I agree. I think benefit of the doubt, the Colts should be able to win that. So that's going to knock the Steelers out of the playoffs. And, so we'll see what happens there. But I agree. I believe Colts handle their business and get that win. So we're both going to pick. Let's do our picks now. We're both going to take the Colts. Steelers at Ravens. Who are you taking?
Oh, man, this one's tough.
I think it's Tyler Huntley at quarterback.
Okay, so I'm going to go Pittsburgh just because I think they're going to play hard for Ben.
Yeah. I'm going to go I think I'm going to go Pittsburgh too because they're still fighting for something. And the Ravens pissed me off, so screw them. Saints at Falcons. Saints need to win and hope for a Niners loss. Who are you taking? Falcons won the first matchup.
I'm gonna take the Saints.
Yeah. I think the Saints win too. Yeah, I'm gonna go Saints as well. But I mean, I'm gonna root for the Falcons. Well, I don't really care, so I'm gonna say Saints. Yeah. Niners at Rams. I think we both said Niners, right?
Yep.
And I think, I mean, they're hoping Jimmy Garoppolo can go. I expect Trey Lance to start.
Yeah.
So, and if the Niners lose and the Saints win, the Saints are in. If the Niners lose and the Saints lose, I think the Niners still make it. So, go Trey Lance, go Niners. I am picking the Niners to win in LA, even if it's Trey Lance. I could be wrong, but I think the Niners are good enough to do it,
I agree.
especially if they force a couple Stafford turnovers. And then the game of the week, national TV, Sunday night, all eyes on it. 9-7 Chargers at the 9-7 Raiders at Allegiant Stadium for a trip to the playoffs. Who you taking?
I'm gonna go Raiders.
Yep,
I
I'm
think they're
going Raiders as well. For what reason?
I think they're gonna be high off that win in Indy.
Yeah, ride that momentum. Do you think Brandon Staley makes a couple bad decisions and hurts the Chargers?
Let me just say I don't trust him.
Yeah. What about Herbert versus Derek Carr? You said you're going with the veteran?
Yep, I'm going with veteran.
See, I think Herbert is the better quarterback, like has the brighter future. But I tend to agree that in a big game with a trip to the playoffs on the line, I would rather ride with Derek Carr. And they got momentum and they're at home. So go Raiders, absolutely. But you made a good point. If it's Raiders Chiefs, Chiefs are probably going to destroy them. If it's Chargers Chiefs, that would be a much better matchup.
Yeah, because I kind of want the Chiefs to have a good first round. You know.
Yeah. I tend to think no matter who it is, the Chiefs are going to win. But should be good. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on, Dustin. This was good. As always, a great Week 17 recap. One more week, and then the playoffs are here. I can't wait for the playoffs, bro.
Absolutely, man. We're coming down to the nitty gritty here. We'll find out who wants it more.
Yep, we got some player interviews or former player interviews coming up for the playoffs to help break it all down. Talk, Super Bowl preview and all that. So it'll be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. Hit that subscribe. Let us know what you think. And yeah, we're gonna keep these episodes coming out. So appreciate the support. Have a great week, guys, and peace out.